Well, it's time to review a property that everybody else seems to be goo goo gaga over, and I know nothing about, but I gave it a chance. Let's review Five Nights at Freddy's. Five Nights at Freddy's stars Josh Hutcherson, Piper Rubio, Elizabeth Lael, and is directed by Emma Tammy. What's up, guys? Welcome to a brand new 2023 review. The embargo has lifted. It's 3 a.m. It's the witching hour. Is that like intentional that they released this at the witching hour? But yeah, we're gonna review Five Nights at Freddy's. Like I said in the intro, I don't really know too much about the property. I don't know. Maybe it's my age. Is this based on a video game, I think, or a video game, or maybe like a Goosebumps type movie? I don't know. Okay, so right away, you might not take my opinion on this seriously if you're a huge fan of Five Nights at Freddy's, okay? One thing I will say, though, is I saw Willy's Wonderland, which is a similar type of premise with Nicolas Cage, where he doesn't say a single word, and I loved it. I thought it was really, really fun. I saw where they were going with this. Going into this, I didn't really know what direction they were going to take. I mean, at face value, you think it's going to be just really zany and fun. I mean, these are like Chuck E. Cheese type characters that come alive, right? And they kill.
Bobby, go!
I thought it was going to be a lot more lighthearted. I'm not saying that's what I wanted. That's just what I expected going into it. So before we dive deep into the movie, let's give you a quick plot synopsis. Josh Hutcherson plays our main character, Mike. He is taking care of his sister, Abby, his little sister, Abby. There was a tragedy that happened in his life when he was younger, and it has really affected everything about him and his life ever since. We see at the beginning, he has a security job, and he just randomly attacks this father because he thinks the father's hurting the child. You know, this is a very disturbed human being. You know, he's had a really rough past, and it's just haunting him. He has these nightmares about it. So it starts off pretty dark, right? So he loses that job because he attacks the guy, and then he meets this guy, Steve, who is sort of like a parole officer. He helps him get a job. And so he eventually gets him a job at this establishment, Freddys. I can't remember the last name of it, okay? But the movie's Five Nights at Freddy's. So the establishment is Freddys. And this is where the horror really starts kicking in. As we all know, if you've seen the trailers, you know the property. The characters start coming alive. You know, that's all I'm going to tell you. I'm not going to tell you anymore. I'm not going to tell you if they attack, because they might attack bad people, but good people they might not attack. There's definitely some secrets in this movie too, okay, that reveal themselves in the final act. And really quickly, I'm going to tell you right now, this movie is right down the middle for me. There's things that I really liked about it, and there's things that I disliked about it. And I like doing these types of reviews. It's not me ripping this movie a new a-hole or hot relish. It's not hot relish, but it's also not like one of the best movies of the year. And before I jump into the pros and cons, I'm gonna tell you right now, this might fall under disappointment, potential. This movie, I think, had a lot of potential. So let's dive into what I really liked about it and what could have been great. First off, I really like our main characters, Mike and Abby. Abby is just infectious. She is really funny at times, and she's an important character because she is constantly battling her brother. You know, they can't really see eye to eye. He can't communicate properly with her, and she has these drawings. The drawings do play a big part, but I just overall liked her character quite a bit. I think Josh Hutcherson is great as Mike in this. He leads it quite well. You care for him. You want him to get better, to figure all this out. You know, it's kind of sad. He's got this aunt played by Mary Elizabeth Masterson, who is in Some Kind of Wonderful, one of my all-time favorite freaking 80s comedies. It was nice to see her again, but you know, she's kind of like the Wicked Witch of the West, right? She's not a kind person at all, and she's more in it, I guess, for the money. Now, diving into the horror, this movie was a lot darker than I expected, and I actually mean that in a good way. there's some really creepy moments throughout when he is working in Freddys. I think it's directed quite well in terms of making these creatures, I guess, scary. There's a lot of tension in this, and these are creatures, you know, the creature design, just them standing there, they're really creepy. And to the movie's benefit, it doesn't go the comedic, zany route as much as you think it would. I think this tries to play it dark, and it leans on the nightmares that our main character Josh is having. You know, he constantly feels this guilt about this tragedy that happened from his past. And that leans into the plot of the movie and the animatronics. It's like his fears are being played against him, right? And before I dive into what I didn't like about the movie, I got to mention Elizabeth Lail, who played the cop in the movie. You know, she's pretty much the beat cop who just goes by at night to check on the establishment, which is also kind of a weird thing about this establishment. It's not open. It hasn't been open for ages, but they still need a security guard in the place to make sure nobody breaks in. Which I thought was kind of weird. Why are you investing so much money in a lone security guard hanging there at night? I can't really give it a con because it does tie into the reveal in the final act, as far as why they need a security guard. Okay, so now with that out of the way, let me give you what kind of irked me about this movie. I think, and I'm guessing this movie's PG-13, all right, because there were quite a few moments where they're building the tension, they're building to a potential scare, and they could really go for it. And I swear I could count at least half a dozen times where I'm thinking we're gonna get there, and then it just never quite lands. It doesn't fully send it home in terms of the scares. And I think this movie would have been a lot more fun, I'm just gonna say it, with some blood and guts. And it's a shame because they really could have went crazy. I mean, because these are creatures that literally have like metal clamps and whatnot inside them, metal ribs, and they can literally use those as weapons against you. And you know, when you have like pretty much sharp tool-like objects coming out of you, the potential for gore and scares is great. And I think they teased you with that stuff, but it either didn't happen or it was always off camera. And that did get frustrating. There's one scene where they literally show the kill, but it's a shadow. They don't actually show it. And man, I was about to give up on the movie because it was just getting annoying. So that's a big waste. And then also, I think the backstory with our main character, Mike, was really interesting. I was getting vibes from, like, say, the Black Phone. And I think this is another opportunity that was missed. They didn't really send it home. And you can't blame the rating on this. I just didn't think the story panned out in the end to send those chills down your spine, or at least give you that emotional payoff, you know? I think the story wasn't fully fleshed out like it should have been. I think that they needed another couple passes in the writing department, and it just didn't pan out. So in the end, you kind of feel nothing, you know, and you're kind of frustrated because there was a lot of potential with this movie. Some nice performances. So it's a shame. It's a shame. So for a rating, I'm going to give this movie just a flat out humdrum. It wasn't as fun as it could have been. It wasn't as bloody as it could have been. It didn't have the emotional payoff. And it's a shame. But I will say, to be fair, the audience that I saw this with, I'm guessing a lot of them were fans of the property. And they did seem to enjoy the movie. And they did clap at the end. I have to tell you that, all right? If anything, I'm honest with you guys. But for me, it just didn't work. It didn't fully have the payoff. And believe me, I might not know the property, but I know good horror and I know good emotion when I see it. There's been quite a few horror properties that I've watched where I wasn't well versed in the background of it. You know, if it was like a video game or a set of books. I don't need that stuff. You can make a good movie without giving me all that backdrop, okay? And it wasn't here. It wasn't here. So yeah, maybe not the review you wanted, but I gotta be honest with you. So I guess I'm not a shill. Anyway, guys, that's an inside joke. Let me know what you guys think of Five Nights at Freddy's in the comments. I hope to God you guys loved it. All right. Also, be sure to come over to Killer Flicks, where we talk horror all day and every day. And on Fridays, we do Free for Fridays. Follow me at Drumdums and on my socials. Support me on Patreon. Buy me a coffee. And guys, thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Drumdum out.